The Navy's really good about how to get you in, and they're really good about saying, hey, Paul, it's time to leave. It's competitive. It's super competitive. But then to be able to come back and be the commanding officer was just a dream. And I'll just say this right here because we're about anywhere from 2 weeks to a couple of months ready to launch. NASA is ready to launch Artemis 2.
Yes.
I was 6 years old when Neil Armstrong stepped on the moon. We're going back to the moon.
Yeah.
We've got 2 Navy guys in that group of 4.
Oh, amazing.
Both F-18 pilots. The commander, Reed Wiseman, was one of my students.
Oh, no kidding.
Test pilots.
Hey there. Welcome to the Peakality Podcast, your new favorite spot for unlocking the best version of yourself. Ready to level up your life? We've got you. We're all about blending technology with human wisdom and the drive to be better, personally and professionally. Each week, we dig into the real stuff, strategies, tools, and mindsets that cut through the noise and help you thrive. No fluff, just practical insights from experts, thought leaders, and people who've been there, done that. And we're here to break it all down into easy steps. Whether you're kicking off a fresh start or a physician seeking to inspire your patients, we've got stories, tips, and tricks to inspire growth in each area of life. Your peak potential's calling, starting right now. Hit subscribe, join our crew, and let's move forward today.
Today's guest is Rear Admiral Paul Sohl, retired U.S. Navy flag officer, test pilot engineer, and executive leader whose career spans aviation systems testing and enterprise leadership at scale. A graduate of MIT and Stanford, Paul commanded across the Navy's most complex organizations, culminating as commander of the Operational Test and Evaluation Force, which oversaw the operational testing of all Navy warfighting systems. Today, he serves as CEO of Florida High Tech Corridor, convening universities, industry, and government to catalyze innovation, workforce development, and entrepreneurship across Florida. Admiral Sohl, welcome to the Peakality Podcast. Thank you so much for coming.
No,
so grateful.
And I like the behind-the-scenes stuff too.
It's fun,
like, how
right?
do you do this?
Yeah,
cool. Sure.
It is. And so I want to just start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like you went to MIT.
I did.
And then you went into the Navy.
I did.
So how did that transition? What drew you to the Navy?
Yeah.
Did you plan on going to the Navy when you were at MIT?
So let me back you up a little bit. I'm a Midwestern kid. I'm a kid, tortured middle brother, older sister, younger sister, 2 great parents. My dad turns 98 in July.
Oh, wow.
So I got some good genes working for me. But really was just on this path to go to college somewhere in the Midwest. And my dad was the one that said, you need to apply to a stretch school. And I said, what's that? So just apply to a college that you wouldn't think about attending, but that is maybe up your alley, but you don't think you can get in. He had gone to MIT for his master's, and I said, I'll just apply to MIT. I'll never get in. It'll never work. And fast forward, lo and behold, it did.
Wow.
And I went there to be an engineer, but I went there also, I was ROTC.
Oh.
And I was ROTC, Navy ROTC, because I had a super smart high school guidance counselor, Ron Janssens, who I wanted to fly. I was going to go to the Air Force, and he said, why don't you apply to all 3 ROTCs? I said, why would I do that? He said, just humor me. So listening to adults, okay, go do this. Got into MIT, got into the Navy, and after 4 years at MIT as an aero engineering student, Courtney, I did not want to be an engineer.
Oh.
And I thank God that the Navy was there. And I said, I want to go fly. And they said, sure. And that has kind of ever since, never considered the Navy a career, loved every second of it, because they give you fun things to do.
Oh, that's awesome. That's cool that you
fast forward and now I'm here.
That's cool. So you started off as a pilot.
I did. Yeah.
And then how did that career take you?
Yeah, and you use it, it's interesting, you use that term career.
Yeah.
I really never considered it a career.
Yeah,
I thought, okay, I'll do this. I was being ROTC, you owe them a little bit of time.
Yeah.
So spent that amount of time and just kept having more fun, flying fast jets, flying off aircraft carriers. going to test pilot school, which was great, and then things just kept happening. So just the Navy's really good about how to get you in, and they're really good about saying, hey, Paul, it's time to leave. So in 2019, that was time to go, time to retire.
That's a long stretch.
33 years.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah.
I love everything about it.
Yeah. What was your favorite part about the Navy?
Ooh, man, that's such a good question. Everything. Probably test pilot school as one of the places. We go there, we send a bunch of fleet aviators from all different communities to go learn to fly different kinds of things. And so we do that because we want them to understand what it's like to develop the next jet, the next, whatever the system is. And so being at Pax River, there's huge history at Pax River, and that was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun getting to fly, older aircraft that really are hard to fly. The F-18 is really easy to fly. Flying some of the older stuff was really cool.
Yeah.
So that was probably, but there's so many good things.
And then you oversaw the test pilot.
I did.
School.
I did. Yeah. So.
And I have a few questions about that. First is like, what do you do when you're evaluating, someone to come in? Like, what is that? If you were to just kind of put like a couple bullets or even one that like is a decision maker for you, that what you're really looking for in a pilot, what does that even look like?
Two things really. One is they had to have, and we sat on a bunch of boards to select new students coming through, had to have either a math or engineering background. There's an awful lot of math and engineering when it comes to building these aircraft. And we have a lot of great civilians in the Navy who help us, but you need that piece of it. And a lot of times that can be the challenge, to find the aviator with that. And then we really look for leadership skills. As a young officer, what we don't want, honestly, you don't want maverick. That's the last person you want, because that character is not a team player. You need people where they're evaluated, we look at old fitness reports, old evaluations. Are they working together as a team? Mm-hmm. Can they be a good leader? Can they be a good follower? Mm-hmm. And how's that? Because we know eventually that's where they're going to go. And it's competitive. It's super competitive. But then to be able to come back and be the commanding officer was just a dream.
Yeah, I mean, it's a dream for everybody that's involved in that ecosystem.
Yep.
And it's really cool.
And probably and I'll just say this right here, because we're about anywhere from 2 weeks to a couple of months ready to launch. NASA is ready to launch Artemis 2.
Yes.
I was 6 years old when Neil Armstrong stepped on the moon. We're going back to the moon.
Yeah.
We've got 2 Navy guys in that group of 4.
Oh, amazing.
Both F-18 pilots. The commander, Reed Wiseman, was one of my students.
Oh, no kidding.
At test pilot school.
Oh, so that's really cool.
He is. So I get to sort of reflect back and think about when we brought him in. I remember when we selected him.
Amazing.
And then you bring him in and you say, okay, he's great. He's great, a character, as they all are.
Amazing.
He says he's either going to get kicked out or he's going to probably become an astronaut.
Oh, that's amazing.
And that's
really?
Exactly what, yeah, he's just such a super, as they all are, just a super guy.
That's amazing.
Tremendous talent.
Very cool.
Sure.
And when you are like at the school, how does the school, I mean, what are they really training for?
Yeah.
Like, what is that role in within the Navy?
Yeah, so what they become then is they're test pilots, test naval flight officers, so backseaters, engineers we send through to really do flight evaluations of new systems on aircraft.
Oh, wow.
So, and the whole idea is we don't want you to be a super good pilot or engineer. We want those testers to be able to test aircraft as if you're the average run-of-the-mill pilot or naval flight officer, because that's who's going to get the system.
Wow.
That's who's going to get it. So you have to sort of expose them in that year to what it is to say, look, we don't want you to try super hard and fly it really well. We want you to evaluate the system.
Wow.
And if it's broken, if it's not working, it's not your fault. It's the system's fault.
Yeah.
We got to fix the system.
Which is why you need the math or engineering background.
That's exactly right. Because then you go to your civilian engineers and say, how do I fix this?
Yeah.
What can I do? And that's where that math and engineering background is important, for sure.
Amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
And when you look at, when you transitioned from the Navy into civilian world, well, first, what was that transition even like? I mean, what was the first, I guess, aha moment or shock that you found in that transition?
So 2 weeks after retiring, we were in Southern Maryland, 2 kids in college at the time, 1 in high school. Walking down the steps to the kitchen, my wife's there, Kat was there, and I looked at her and I said, so what's the plan for today? And she looked over at me and she said, I know what my plan is.
Oh, that's good.
I don't know what your plan is.
That's great.
And so that transition of, and it's a lot like we talk to our sailors when they come home from deployments. Merge back into the family gently.
Yeah.
You're not the king. They've been getting along just fine without you.
Yeah.
And likewise, my family, and they serve too. One of the things I tell folks in retirement is you serve with your father, with your mother.
100%. Yes.
You're doing all that stuff. So being able to recognize that, saying they're getting along just fine. Number one, just tremendous great mentors that I was smart enough to reach out to say, I don't even have a clue what I want to do. And one of the best bits of advice was don't rush the journey. And he said it, and it applies here because and there were several of them that told me that, is in the service, you subordinate your own sort of personal desires and things for the mission.
Yeah.
You've done that. I did that for 33 years. So now what do you want to do? And how does that fit in with the family? And had a great friend of mine who was working at Naval Postgrad School who said, you got to figure out what your guideposts are and what does that mean. So for me leaving, it took me about 6 months, and Kat was very helpful. I wanted to be able to feel like I learned something new every day, and I wanted to feel like I was giving back.
Yeah.
She was the one that highlighted learn something new. My last job, we were about 4 hours apart, and we were testing all the new stuff. I got to test stuff, I didn't specifically, but test submarines, test satellites, all these things that are not aviation. And she said, you would always call back, and she said, you'd giggle when you learn something new.
That's awesome.
And I thought, yeah, she's probably right. So that then flowed into the job at the High-Tech Corridor, which has been a blast. I never would have imagined doing stuff like that.
It's so cool. So tell us a little bit about the High-Tech Corridor.
Yeah, so nonprofit, we turned 30 this year, which is exciting.
Oh, wow.
It was created, and we really do we often use that, or sometimes use that term, we stand on the shoulders of giants. We do. There were some visionaries at UCF and USF and the state legislature to say, if we don't do something intentionally to keep and grow high-tech businesses in this corridor, and we're named after I-4, so it goes from Tampa, St. Pete, all the way to the Space Coast. If we don't do something, if we just let things happen, high-tech jobs, high-tech economies,
it's going to go away.
It's going to go away.
Yeah.
And won't build.
Yeah.
And so fast forward, 6 months out of the Navy, I get a call from a search firm. I said, I have no idea who you are. I have no idea what the corridor is. But tell me more about it because it's in Florida. And Kat said, I'd love to get back to Florida. And so it worked out.
That's amazing.
And it really is, we had a team of 12. Our whole job in this 23 counties, Courtney, is to build the innovation capacity of the region.
I love it.
So if you think about what that means, and there are a bunch of things we do from a regional perspective to be able to help, the talent is here.
Yeah.
The resources are here.
Yes.
what we wind up doing is kind of connecting communities.
Yeah. Okay.
Because innovation happens in communities.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen in a lab. It doesn't happen in a business. It happens in communities. And that's what's fun for us, is we get to see a bunch of these communities across 23 counties.
I love it because you're building on one another.
We are.
I use this corny saying that 1 + 1 = 11.
Yeah, for sure.
Because if two people get together, then they're just building on each other's ideas.
For sure.
And you're not just in that, like you said, it's not in a lab being solo.
Yeah.
It's collaboration
Yeah.
and people coming together.
There were some great leaders around this area that I wound up talking to, and I was very blessed. It was right at the beginning of COVID. I got a lot of time to just listen and learn.
Oh, that's awesome.
I wasn't told to go do this or do that, and part of what I learned was that it really has got to be community-driven innovation. That communities can be a part of it. Orlando and the greater Orlando area in Osceola County, and the things that we're doing here, amazing stuff. Space Coast, amazing stuff. Tampa, amazing stuff. Stuff at UF in Gainesville, amazing. And so we're able to kind of see across those 23 counties and really begin to help connect and collaborate and convene with those groups that really energizes the art of the possible.
I love it. It's like really cool. What do you feel as though that when you've transitioned from one to the next, what is a common thread you've found that is consistent in what you were doing in the Navy and what you're doing now?
Yeah.
Is there any consistency?
No, for sure. For starters, a huge imposter syndrome coming into this world. You know, I don't know. They don't teach any of this stuff in the Navy. So being comfortable not knowing. I was given that advice early on in the Navy, that I had a bunch of great bosses, and often they would say, the further you go, the less you're going to be able to pull it all in and understand it. Don't worry about that. Don't be the smartest person in the room. You shouldn't be. And that took a little bit of, that took a while, because you're trained early on to be the smartest. You want to be the smartest pilot in the ready room. You want to be the smartest, officer of the deck. But then that changes over time.
Because it's that higher, because it's the structure. Got it.
For sure.
Okay,
For sure. So it was easy for me in that transition to really sort of channel that idea of, believe me, when I left the Navy, I wasn't the smartest person in my last several commands. Forget it. You're surrounded by a lot of super smart people. So taking that transition and going on a listening and learning journey I was blessed to be given that chance. I wasn't told to go, you need to do this, and that we didn't do that. And that listening and learning journey and I'm still on it, Courtney. I'm still on it. We got a fantastic team, amazing stuff that's happening. And I get to learn about all this stuff.
Yeah, and what do you, when you look at leadership, and you were to look at the difference between how you led in the Navy and how you lead in civilian world, is it different?
Oh yeah. And I'll a couple of interesting things, and again, bits of advice you're given. One of the values of the career that I had was I was able to work with a ton of super great civilians in the research and development world, test and evaluation world. So, and in that world of the Navy, as opposed to the battle group commander that's out there, leading the charge, mostly all military, we're mostly civilians. That is a different form of leadership. That helped me in this role because as we work with a bunch of different stakeholders, county government, city government, universities, colleges, research labs,
so many different
all
personality
sorts of different
types.
Things. You really have to. Again, I'm a Stephen Covey fan. Seek to understand. That's the first thing. Then to be understood. You've really got to you got to think about, okay, what's going on here? And then how can we at the corridor walk with you on that journey. And so that leadership piece, it takes longer.
Yeah.
I think you have to build some credibility in being able to talk and understand. But that was the easy transition piece. I think for me, I was able to sort of transfer that leadership, those techniques into developing the team, and then sitting back, and we got just an amazing team that does amazing work.
And I think, and how, when you look at the team and structuring of the team,
Yeah.
when you look at leaders and
Yeah.
those that know how to lead and those that know how to follow, as you said, with the pilots that you're training, when they are in training, can you determine pretty quickly if that person's going to step into a more leadership role, or if they're going to stay in more of a the follower, builder, doer role, and what does that even look like?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I'll give you an example, and these are things that you learn over time.
Yeah.
You're not born with it. I don't think we have born leaders. I think you can learn this kind of stuff. To your question about can you tell, the story I'll tell you. So I had, and it's really great when young officers who have been in your commands or been on your teams will continue to promote, and then they come back to you and say, okay, I'm in this new role. What can how can you guide me on this? That's tremendous for me. It's wonderful to be able to have that happen. So I had this young officer come to me. He is a brand new Navy captain, and you've been in about 20 years. I mean, that's and this he had started out as a youngster, and he said, he shut the door and he says, I don't feel I'm getting the required leadership opportunities that I see my brothers and sisters getting. And I said, okay, let's talk about it. And he proceeded in the next 20 minutes to describe what the kinds of things that he's done. And I said, okay, Mike, I want you to, let me replay this, and I want you to count in your head how many times you said the word I.
Oh.
It was a bunch. Because I said, until you get over that, it ain't when you're a Navy captain now, it ain't all about, in fact, it's not about you.
Yeah.
It's that first line in A Purpose-Driven Life.
Yeah.
It's not about you.
Yeah.
So until you can, so that, for me, that was a good example. You can kind of see it. Doesn't mean they can't change.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they can't learn. Oof, yeah. And say, okay, I got it. And you can't be totally self-aware to know what you're, and I had those experiences as a youngster, and I was just blessed to have leaders who
kind of put
your arm around you and say, here's the deal.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, okay. And then to be able to absorb that.
Yes.
I think is important.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that goes into a lot. I think you have to be a good follower to be a good leader. You have to appreciate your teammates and what they're doing. Sports are great analogies too. Boy, if you can't appreciate, if the quarterback comes in and says, I'm king, guess what? He's done.
Yeah.
He's done. Just doesn't work.
Yeah, because his teammates aren't going to support him.
Just doesn't
Yeah, it doesn't work. Yeah, you can't.
So that was, you learn over time. And I've been able to use that skill. You can kind of, and I try not to jump to conclusions, but you can kind of tell, okay, this person needs a little coaching here.
Sure,
to go do some stuff.
And I mean, what does that coaching even look like?
Yeah.
Do you think that it's about reaching out to people and just having coffee with them? And you think that that's a great way to coach? You find, like, how can someone find a mentor that will really speak into, what their challenges are, maybe, that they don't know where to go for that mentorship. Because what I'm finding is that a lot of guys in the military, they'll have some of that structure and they'll have some of that mentorship, but when they get out, they don't really know where to go for that guidance.
Yeah, for sure.
And so what would you advise anyone, even a civilian or someone that's transitioned out, to find and seek mentorship?
Yeah.
Like, what does that even look like?
I think keep a hold of your current network. And I'll give you an example. Just this morning, one of the John Rivers here in Orlando had asked me a couple of days ago, hey, can you help us get connected with somebody at a Navy base that might be interested in some of the things we're doing with recycling and other stuff? And I said, sure. I thought, okay, there's a friend of mine who used to be the CEO of NAS Mayport. I haven't talked to him in 10 years. We talked this morning.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it was great. And he's going to help out. So that having that network of folks, and of course we talked about funny stories when we were together. He was at Mayport when I was at Jack's, and all these other things that I think are important in staying connected. And that network is one where you can ask them, okay, I'm new in this whole civilian world.
Yeah.
I just came across this, help me out.
Yeah.
You know, to your point about mentorship, I can't think of a person that would turn down an opportunity to have a cup of coffee with you if you asked them.
Yeah.
And honestly, if they say no, and sometimes people will, you don't want them anyway.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
Why would I want to, just like move on.
Yes.
Find those people that want to sit and listen.
That's great.
And I am fascinated by the transition piece because again, great mentors, and now just to watch. And in fact, the guy called it Jacksonville. He's going to Texas. He's going to do a new job. So we're talking about a bunch of stuff. So it's interesting.
That's awesome.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think one of the things is if when someone fails, what do you think that failure can actually help or hinder?
Yeah.
Like, how do you look at failure? I don't know if you've ever failed at anything, but
I'll give you this is an easy story.
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
And because somebody has asked me this question before, I said, I'll tell you exactly when I thought my career was over. I'm done. In naval aviation, you first start in small training aircraft, and then you get selected to go fly your fleet aircraft. And if you're a carrier aviator, which means you land on aircraft carriers, the last thing you do is take your fleet aircraft and land it in the daytime and at night for a couple of dozen arrested landings. And then you're done. And I failed my first time.
Oh.
And so, because you practice for a month. And
sorry, that seems really hard though. Like,
well, no, but there are a lot of people that do it. A lot of people that do it. And I was struggling. And I remember you go out in a class, in a group of 6 or 7 that have been practicing for a month, and you go out there and you sit there and you get graded. And I was told that morning, said, you're done, we're sending you back. And you know that you'll be given another chance, but at the time it doesn't matter. And so then you do the walk of shame, which is you get in the back seat of an F-18 2-seater to be flown back, and then you're with yourself. And I thought, I'm done. I can't do this. The pilot, the Marine major in front, tremendous mentor, talked to me the entire way. And he said, I know what you're going through. And he was one of the ones, because I was ready to quit. I was ready, okay, send me to a desk job. This is not for me. And they gave me another chance. And different instructors, worked out incredibly well. I was very blessed. So yeah, I know what it's like. And then you take the high-tech corridor and innovation, people are failing all the time.
Yeah.
Get over it.
Yeah.
You're literally, as you fail, you're going to learn something.
Yes.
So don't do that again.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. That's cool. We should be able to get through that and fail faster.
Yes,
sure.
I think. Do you think that there is a difference in people today and how they take and accept failure versus maybe if maybe a few years back. I mean, how do you see people really, looking at leadership, looking at failure?
Yeah. That's a really good question. I'm not sure if there's been a change. I know and I can see it in our 3 kids, there's still a drive, I think sometimes for perfection, test scores, and I got to get into this college and those kinds of things, which looking back, and I'm guilty being a parent who's probably drove, a little bit too hard, saying, hey, I look back now and say, and I would listen. I should have listened more. I don't have any regrets, but I should have listened more, taken the time to listen, saying, okay, what just happened with friend or child or anything else, and then what are you going to learn from that?
Yeah.
As opposed to I failed. That's a personal, tick mark. No, it's not.
Yeah.
That's where you're going to learn. You're going to learn from that.
It's life.
Yeah,
it's
it
lessons.
is life.
Yeah,
This is how this works.
Yeah, and how did you find to balance life and all that you've done?
So
I know you have an amazing wife, but
yeah, family's great. So I'm probably counter to what I don't believe trying to do a work-life balance is possible.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I don't.
Like, I'm going to try, but this is not real. For high achievers, it's not possible.
So I think what winds up happening is, if that is your goal, I think it's sort of endless frustration. I think what you do is you manage the imbalance.
Yeah.
So when I left as commanding officer of Navy Test Pilot School, about 6 months later, I was headed to Afghanistan. We had 3 young kids at the time. I don't think Kat knew that I would be potentially deployed.
Oh, wow.
And so now here's the challenge. And I think you have to sort of sit back and say, okay, here it goes. And was it balanced? No, not at all. But you just manage it as best you can.
And know that everyone's in it and communicating with your family.
For sure.
And just,
for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
I think those that I just don't, I think it's a disservice to make people think like you have everything balanced.
Yeah.
We were talking about your kids, it's like, it's not.
Yeah. We are where we are.
Yeah.
But it's real and it's life.
Yeah,
it's,
for sure.
I
think we haven't talked about it, but I think a sense of humor is important as well.
Very much so. Yeah.
I think, and
laughing
I would say.
Laughing at yourself.
That's right.
Laughing at situations.
That's right. And I would direct it inward.
Yes.
That's, why did I just do that? And laugh at yourself and don't take yourself too seriously.
Yeah.
For that.
Yes. Mm-hmm. How do you see innovation moving forward?
Great question. And it is, I think our biggest challenge right now is the speed at which innovation is happening.
Yeah.
That's what I think the human mind has a really tough time getting around. You think of, you trace it back to the industrial, agriculture, industrial revolution, knowledge revolution, and all this kind of stuff. The human brain was able to keep up with that. We can't anymore.
Yeah.
And so where it's headed, I think, is an interesting point. It certainly, for me, it feels uncomfortable. I can't even begin to stay up with the latest ChatGPT app, anything like that. So it will proceed quickly. I think where the magic that I see happening is how technologies are converging. So I'll use medical as an example, and space. Mm-hmm. So we're now going back into space, and there's so much stuff that we've learned on the space station that we will learn as we do more things like that. The convergence of space and manufacturing. There's a great company in Austin that got a contract with NASA to figure out how to build on the moon.
Yeah.
You certainly aren't going to take bricks to the moon. Costs $1 million to take a brick to the moon. That won't work. You're going to build with what you have.
Yeah, and I heard mining's going to be a really big thing.
For sure. Water.
Yeah.
Got to find water. Can't take water.
Yep.
How's that going to work? And that drives, I think, the technology. And one of the areas that I'm truly proud of in the corridor, and this gets to our youngsters, our K through 12, is invention, is creativity. There was a great quote by one of the founders of one of these big tech companies that said, the future is going to be really sort of owned by those that are creative and those that are curious.
Oh.
You don't need to be a programmer. That's going to be taken care of.
Yeah.
But if you're creative enough and curious enough and can ask the question, what does that do? How does that work? Imagine this. That's what I think teams need. That's where I think we're headed. And it's been fun for me because I'll be honest, in the Navy, sometimes they don't want you to be creative and curious. You're sort of there to do a mission. And now I get to be in this world of, and especially the youngsters who are inventing and have programs, structured programs to invent and all those different things. First robotics, first Lego League, parents that are involved. That's some magical stuff.
Yeah.
For sure.
What do you think that someone should do to try and be a part of innovation and the future of, our world?
Yeah. Engage, go, show up. Number one rule in entrepreneurship, show up.
Yeah.
Show up, find a place. I'll just use it, and I realize this will be taped and played later, but first robotics, the whole first robotics, that program now, regionals are at UCF in mid-March. You will see, in first robotics, this is sort of high school level, there is nothing like watching these kids who have now designed these robots to do these missions. It's in the arena at UCF. And the best part is when you go to the pits, when they finish their, and they have to go to the next round and they're trying to fix these damaged things and how to do it, and they're all working on teams. And just be curious, show up, go watch them, go see it. And then first Lego League, same kind of thing, but now with grade schoolers. Yeah. And do that gets you into the innovation space for sure. And then it's, no holds barred on what you can go do. Invention Convention is a national program that we are engaged with and show kids, and that's K through 12.
Amazing.
To be able to activate the creativity. I think, and this is not judgmental on the people in the education world, I think we've dumbed out the creativity, ability to honor creativity for our kids.
I think critical thinking and
absolutely.
Creativity have really been like washed out almost in our standard education system.
Right.
And so then that's the question of like, how can a parent, how can encourage their kids, because the kids are showing up and it's almost like they just need that guidance, but they're not getting it at school. Yeah. They're oftentimes not getting it at home.
Right.
So it's like, how can we give them some, just tools to really know what's even out there, what's possible.
Osceola County is having a STEM day at the end of January. One of the things that I've learned in this world is, and you brought it up, you have to bring the parents into the equation.
Absolutely.
Because the child will show up at home, and my biggest fear, I think about this a lot because we did this when I was out at China Lake. We would bring, one weekend a month, we would bring in 8th grade girls, let them pair up with female scientists. Then 2 weeks later, we'd bring in 8th grade boys, and you got to watch them in that world. And I got to watch how creative 8th grade girls can be when it comes to science.
Oh,
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And my biggest nightmare is to have that young girl come home and say, I've been told I'm not good at math.
Yeah.
And go, well, wait a minute. And then have the parents not know what to do.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing. It's that creative, getting engaged.
Or knowing how to apply math into so many different industries.
For sure.
I mean, I think that's a lot of, they're like, well, where am I ever going to apply this?
Right.
And there's just so much innovation that's taking place that even more critical than ever to really have critical thinking when it comes to math, understanding engineering, understanding the foundation for, you know, robotics, and even technological advances, you know, with ChatGPT. But how is this really working?
Your point, Courtney, about critical thinking is really important as well. And that's one of those things is you can't pick up a book and learn critical thinking. Critical thinking starts, honestly, when you're born, and you go from there. So setting the conditions where you allow, we were just having a discussion, a friend of mine and I, we were talking about, you know, raising kids, setting the conditions to let them fail, let them make decisions in the
so hard.
Protected. Well, it is. It's for our for my generation. It's really hard not to say, don't do that. That's going to hurt. You got to sit back and go, that's going to hurt. But okay. Go do it. You know, and see what happens.
And then figuring out that balance of
and that builds the critical thinking skills. It's got to start young. We've got to start young. And I think we're in an environment with technology to be able to do that.
Agree.
To be able to have the answers won't come from technology. AI is a long way off from being able to critically think. So that's the human aspect of it.
And I think a lot of people don't really understand that. It's really understanding, you know, AI is what you feed it. It's not the human. It doesn't have that human critical thinking factor, that creativity. The human creativity of what to even bring into the situation for it to even evaluate.
I being in the corridor in 23 counties, I get to drive a lot, and I get to listen to a lot of books and podcasts and things. And one of my most recent heroes is a gentleman out of England, Demis Hassabis, Dr. Hassabis. He won the Nobel Prize for Chemistry in '24 in the ability to use AI to figure out protein folding and how proteins work.
Oh, wow.
He was a gamer as a young kid. He developed games. He loved doing that. He was a chess champion early on. Think of if his parents didn't allow him to do that. Would we have him here today? Maybe not. So it's those, I really do think about those young, you know, Orlando Science Center and what they're doing up there to get the kids in there. We are training the youngster that's going to cure cancer. We are.
You're talking about the guy who he was a world champion of chess. Yes. And he then stopped, and he was like, if all these minds were to come together, and really, and then that's how he started creating AI. Is that correct?
So what he did was they created this thing called, if you remember back in the day, there was Watson that began to compete against chess champions, and then there was an AI program called AlphaGo. So there was a game called Go. There is a game called Go, and it has, the way I understand it, I don't play it, but the way I understand it, it has the number of possible moves each play is more than the number of atoms in the universe.
Oh my gosh. So
you can't treat it like chess.
Wow.
And so he said, well, wait a minute, I think we can do something to figure this out. So there are YouTube videos where now AlphaGo competes against the world Go champion and beat him.
That's amazing.
And now they take that game and now they apply it to medicine. And say, okay, how do proteins get formed and developed? And they created this thing called AlphaFold. And that won the new Nobel Prize.
Wow.
It started as a game.
Wow.
It started as a game. So think about gaming, the gaming industry and what everybody's doing. It's all that, those convergence of technologies are huge.
That's a really,
really cool.
I did not connect those dots, but that's amazing.
It is.
It's very,
and it's happening here in Florida. I mean, I'll plug Florida. It's happening. This kind of stuff. These technologies are out here. There's a game jam this weekend talking about space, solving space problems. This happens here
through gaming.
Through gaming.
Like it's amazing.
For sure. absolutely.
And I think that that's where a lot of people get really focused on, playing and even parents are like, these games aren't going to help you.
Yep.
But if you can see the parallel or be like, hey, Mom, actually, this gaming it's going to help me.
Our kids played Minecraft.
Oh,
early,
right? Exactly.
And I'm thinking, like, where's that going to take them?
Yeah.
And then you realize, oh, wait a minute.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes. And I mean, so many of these games are even just teaching them about life and how to even, it's really interesting how it's all changed. I mean, definitely since we played Atari.
Yeah.
I
remember that.
But and where we are today with just all of overall innovation.
Yeah.
I know we kind of touched base on a little bit, but what do you think is you said like relationships and knowing people and knowing.
Yeah, I think one of the things that surprised me, because I had a sense for what it would be like, but really the expanse of the things that are happening in this world. I felt after I was out of the Navy for a while that, wow, we have this very specific mission, but there's all this other stuff that's out there. And for me, it allowed me to say, because I had an imposter syndrome coming into this job. I said, I'm not sure if I know what I'm doing. It's okay.
That makes us all feel better about like the humility. Like
it's okay.
That's
it's
amazing.
okay. You're gonna feel that, and that's what's fun, because I think the other thing to realize is there's a really natural. Always the civilians so much appreciate the service piece, and then if you can reciprocate and say, well, I'm curious about what you're doing, that's an important piece.
Yeah, definitely as a civilian, I feel it's my duty to serve those that served us.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, that
and
is.
Thank you for that. That's
100%. I mean, because we wouldn't have the lifestyle that we have. We wouldn't have the freedom that we have. We wouldn't have, anything that without having those that served us.
Right.
And especially the military, first responders.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone that is in a service role plays their part so that we can.
For sure.
And I think so many people in today's age are taking advantage of really what we have.
Yeah.
And that is that's one of the pieces that I just feel really strongly about.
Yeah. If I could wave a magic wand, I would say make it a requirement that students, once they graduate high school, 2 years of service.
I totally agree.
Not necessarily in military.
I agree.
Peace Corps, Teach for America.
Yep.
Do something, because that gives them a common framework to talk about, so that when you and I meet on the street, hey, what did you do? Oh, that's pretty interesting.
Exactly.
I think that's something we could learn from other
and also
countries.
working with different
sociographic
upbringings.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, because you're learning so much from people.
It's interesting, and I'll just highlight, you're exactly right. That's probably one of the other things you realize. In the Navy, we have, very specific mission and a very specific type of individual that serves. I mean, there are these guardrails, right?
Interesting.
So you get used to that. And now you get out here and you go, ooh, not everybody thinks the way I do.
Yeah.
This is interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I grew up in Kentucky.
Yeah.
And then when I moved to New York City, oh my gosh. Like I learned so much, like just about life, about cultures, about people. And like, it was really interesting. So I can only imagine, being in the military and seeing how with that transition.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Okay, I have a little fire drill. Okay, so I'm going to give you like 2 or 3 words or a statement, and then what would you do to follow after that?
Okay.
So leadership is?
I would just say being part of a team.
Ooh.
I think just being part of a team.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love that. That's awesome. Trust is built by?
Listening.
Ooh, that's great. Yes. Complexity demands?
Oof. Yeah. I would say patience.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. Ecosystems are complex, adaptable systems that don't respond the same way every time. So you have to be complexity. You have to appreciate the fact that one day the answer might be this, the next day the answer might be that.
So it's fluid.
You got to be patient. You got to be patient.
That's awesome. And sometimes you just got to stir it up a little bit so
for
it
sure.
can, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You know, shake the board is an important piece of that.
I love that. I love that. Innovation fails when?
Ooh. When we don't allow failure.
Ooh.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you can see it in organizations where they think they're innovative, but they're not willing to take risks.
Yes.
You have got to be comfortable with taking risks.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, I love that. That's so good. Okay, one thing leaders should stop doing right now.
Ooh, right now. I'll throw it out. I'll probably get hit for this one. Stop talking.
Oh.
Listen. Stop talking. And it's the old. I have too many channels. I can't listen. I can't have Slack and email and everything else. I want people to shut up.
Yeah.
And just listen a little bit. Be curious enough. Brene Brown does a great thing, and she talks about just be a little more curious. So I think we have so many leaders that are out there trying to get their point across. I would much prefer to talk to people like you who are curious about stuff.
Yeah.
Just stop talking.
Yes.
For a minute.
I love it. This has been so great. Thank you so much, Paul, for your time, your service, your leadership.
No.
I mean, just everything. Really, really grateful,
pleasure.
and all that you're doing for our community and helping youngsters with innovation and staying motivated. So
as the team knows, that's where I get my energy.
That's awesome.
Is those youngsters that are out there that are fearless in what they want to go do.
Very cool.
And it's going to be great.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. Thanks, Courtney.
Thank you.